I'm Felicity Tillack and I'm a first-time filmmaker, and tomorrow is the final full day of shooting for my feature film, which is called Impossible to Imagine, or Souzou ga dekinai in Japanese. And it's the story of a very traditional conservative Japanese woman, and she owns, or she's inherited, a kimono shop from her late mother, and it's not doing well. It's got no money, and her dad wants her to sell it, and he wants her to get a different job. But because it was her mum's, and because it's something she really loves, she doesn't want to let go of it. She holds on to it very tightly. So her friend introduces her to a successful business consultant who also happens to be a biracial Japanese Australian man called Hayato. And they fall in love, as you do, and they work together at her kimono shop. But in the end, will they be able to change enough for each other? Hayato's, impulsive business style personality versus her much more like conservative, traditional Japanese style identity. I thought I would share some surprising things that I've learned along the way with this process of making an indie feature film. The first one is I don't sleep, especially the day before. So I've been up since 4:30. I didn't sleep really. I turned off the lights at 12:30 last night, woke up at 3, woke up at 4, woke up at 4:30, got up. It's about 7 now, and this is a pattern that has perpetuated basically every day or day before, but when I'm editing as well, my brain just can't switch off. I'm always thinking about the story, the parts, the images that I want to create, and it just doesn't let me sleep. Lots of anxiety. The second thing, and maybe a lot of indie filmmakers say this and do this, but you really can make a film on anything. And I'm going to go through what things I used in a different video, but I'm basically shooting on older Panasonic GH Lumixes, GH2, GH3, and a Panasonic AF105, which is about the same production quality as the GH2, but I've been told if you have a hacked GH2, which I do, then that's actually slightly better quality than the Panasonic AF105. The good thing about the 105 is that it has built-in ND filters, and it feels more filmic. It's not a word, but it feels more cinematographic. Also not a word. People look at that camera and they say, oh, you're making a movie. Whereas the DSLRs, though I love them, and I know the most amazingly beautiful stuff gets made on GH5s, which I would love to have, or a Sony. They see the build size of the bigger cameras and they kind of go, oh, now I'm on something a bit more professional. But I don't think gear should stop you from trying to make something. My next really, just for me, this is one of the biggest in my life in general, and also on this film, is just ask. The old adage, ask and you will receive. It's true. Like, people are generous and they want to support you and they want to help you. So from people who've let me use their house as a location, to a shop which gave me a Japanese bridal veil and a bridal wig for free. And I was actually just looking to see if they knew anyone who would sell me one, and they just kind of said, well, we have an old one up in the attic, do you want it? And of course I was like, yes, thank you. But just ask, put yourself out there, say to people, ask if they're interested, ask if they have something that you can borrow. And in my experience, people will come through, they'll help you out. So don't be afraid. The times that I haven't asked and I've kind of been on the fence about maybe asking a person on the street if they would mind if I filmed them, because I thought what they were doing was interesting, and then I held back because I was embarrassed. The worst thing they can do is just say no, right? So I think you should put yourself out there and ask. So this film, Impossible to Imagine, is a very personal project, as they all are. It's something I scripted, and it's something I'm directing, and I'm doing most of the camera work for. So when you're in that position, you are the boss, but at the same time, I think you have to be really open to feedback from all quarters. When we do rehearsals, when the actors and I do rehearsals, especially because this is a film that's completely in Japanese, I have to be aware of those cultural nuances. And at this point in the production, we have 1 day left. They know their characters really well, so I need to be open to what they interpret their character as being likely to say, not just what I want as the message or what those are the words I've written, that kind of attitude. With the translator as well, the translator and my assistant director Shota, his girlfriend is a scriptwriter as well, and she actually prepped and read the script for me. Those comments that I got have changed the script for the better. And Shota asked me if I was okay with that. He was like, I guess maybe he'd encountered other directors or scriptwriters who hold their work very closely. But I can only see feedback as a good thing. Same with camera work. I'm still a pretty new cinematographer. My background is more travel vlogs and documentary style, which is really different than setting up shots and framing and visually telling a story through your shots. And having people, for example, a guy called Aaron, an Australian filmmaker from Osaka, came on as an AD one day, and he brought some handheld shots in. And for me, at first I was just like, handheld equals shaky cam equals not professional looking. Why don't we use a gimbal or something like that? But he explained how it adds to the dynamism of the shot, how it makes it feel like, especially you don't want to overuse it, but for the scene where it's a fight scene in the kitchen, and when we watched the footage, the actors and I, we all just kind of went, wow, that makes the shot all that more dynamic, present. You feel really like you're there. So and he was so respectful about it. He's like, you're the boss, what do you think? But getting that feedback from people who have this professional experience is just invaluable. Do your film over the weekends. So this was put to me by another director friend here in Osaka called Hamish Downey, who's made a few films, and I AC'd on his upcoming feature, and that was done in 4 days, a feature in 4 days. And it was intense, it was crazy, super professional team, which is why it was possible. But when it came to my one, I was kind of like thinking about how I was going to do it, and he just said, do it on the weekends. You have that latitude, you're local, you're hiring locals. Why kill yourself? It's meant to be a fun experience. You're meant to learn something from it. And the thing I have learned is, take 1 or 2 days of the month. Everybody's good, everybody's got time, and then it's fun, it's relaxing, it's a shared experience, a shared joy. Otherwise, you just kill yourself and you kill, your staff, and then nobody has a good experience. So, yes. Moving on to the next one is, have fun on the shoot. For me, this shoot, compared to a similar creative project I did in summer last year, which was also amazing, but a lot more stressful, is that this time I've made it my purpose to have fun. And I've told the staff that, you're going to have a good day. It's going to be, for the staff, for the crew, for the cast, it's going to be fun. And as director or the organizer of making a film. You need to bring that energy. You need to be the one who's talking respectfully to people. You need to be the one who's like making sure that lunch is ready. Lunch is so important. Yeah, bring a good mood to the set, and you're the one who'll drive that. Be direct and clear with what you want. So an anecdote, I'd been approached online by Shorta, who's now my assistant director, and at that time I didn't know him. He'd just come back from film school in Brisbane, and he'd just seen one of my posts, and he was like, please, I want to come. I'll bring my grandma because she can help you with the Japanese wedding kimono, which is what I've been advertising for. And at first I still needed somebody, that's great. And then my lead actress, Yuki, was like, you know what, with YouTube we can do this by ourselves. So in Japanese, I was just like, you know, if she doesn't come or not, it's okay, which is not very direct. And I thought that I'd gotten the message through. And then on the day, Grandma turns up, and I'm like, oh no, she's this beautiful little old 80-year-old lady who walked a lot that day between the park, between my house, which is about 10 minutes, and back, and then she walked over to the shopping street where we did another film, which is 20 minutes, and then back. So I was so worried about her, and I wished I had said more directly to Shorta, please don't bring your grandma. Luckily, she had a great day. She loved hanging out with us. She was super positive. She was born in Kyoto, so for her it was like coming home. It ended well, but I think from that experience I've learned just straight up be clear. Also with jobs on the set, if you want somebody to do something, just tell them. If you expect somebody to fulfill some role, ask them, you know, make it clear what's expected. Otherwise, people will assume what they want, and lots of miscommunication will follow. I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the clips from the film, and I hope that some of these tips have helped you, and I hope that I'll get some sleep tonight. I won't, but it's nice to think I might. So yeah, see you next video.